Why hello there! Welcome back to the channel. Right, I haven't done a sit down video like this for quite some time, but we've got something exciting to talk about. There's a new Pixar film out, Soul. So I thought what I'd do today is come and chat to you about basically what I thought of the film. So let's get into it. So I'll admit, Soul, I wasn't that hyped about it. Like, I saw the trailers, I saw pictures for it, and I was like, yeah, obviously I'm gonna watch it, obviously. But am I excited? Not so much. Not so much, and I can't really explain to you why. I just would say the trailer didn't really sell it to me. But I was actually really pleased. I really did enjoy it. It's not my top Pixar. I wouldn't even say it's possibly in my top 5 Pixar. However, it was better than I had imagined. It was actually a lot funnier than I had anticipated from the trailers. The character 22 throughout the film has so many mentors, like these iconic mentors. We're talking Mother Teresa, we're talking Gandhi, we're talking all these like crazy iconic inspirational people, and she breaks every single one of them. And I have to say, I did laugh quite a bit at those little moments. They were funny. Now the film itself is quite like what Pixar's kind of trying to do right now. They're addressing difficult things in a way that I don't think I'd have even thought about. So we've had Inside Out, talking about emotions, depression, all of that stuff. We've had, I can't think of any others. We've had others. This one is looking at dying. It's looking at what happens after we die. It's looking at so many things. It raises more questions, I think, than it answers. But Pixar just have a way of doing this, and they address it in such a way that you almost feel safe watching. But I'll be honest, it made me really think about stuff. It made me question things I do and what I think about things. It's a very, very clever thing. Now, obviously, we all know, and this is not a spoiler, it's in the trailer, we've got the main character, Joe.
What's your name, honey?
I'm Joe.
Voiced by Jamie Foxx. Which, first of all, let's go for this. First main black character in a Pixar film, which I think this year is absolutely brilliant. Timing couldn't, I mean, it needed to happen. It should be happening anyway. I think with this year in 2020, with Black Lives Matter, losing our Black Panther, everything, this was a great way to end the year with a main black character. Thought that was fantastic. Now, anyway, he was brilliant, and within the first 10 minutes, he dies. Now, obviously, that was an emotional roller coaster. They did it with humor. You kind of see it's quite comedy, like almost slapstick, the way they do it. But you go through a roller coaster of emotions. It shocks the storyline, definitely. If you hadn't watched the trailer, you wouldn't possibly see that coming. I mean, in terms of the story, he got what he was looking for. He reached a dream, boom, he's dead. That is not very classic animation cartoon video. Normally, you know, main character succeeds in their dream, happily ever after. In this one, main character succeeds, dead. I would compare it to Up. The fact that within the first 10 minutes of Up is probably some of the most emotional scenes ever. However, this did not quite, like, Up makes me sob. Up makes my heart hurt. This didn't do the same thing, but was still clever. It started us off on a storyline that you would not always predict. Jack, go away. What was really, really interesting, and I think a lot of our Pixar films come with a really strong moral of the story. Now, I spent probably the first half of this film thinking, right, moral of the story has to be pursue your dreams. Basically, try your best, pursue your dreams, do what you're here for. Which is great. And then suddenly, halfway through the film, the whole moral of the story shifts. And we're looking at something that's suddenly a lot more meaningful, a lot more, that's kind of when I paused and went, wait, wow, like what does this reflect on me? Do I follow this? And I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, but I thought, how do I do this without saying what the moral of the story is? I thought the shift in the moral basically was so relevant to 2020. 2020 is a year where basically if you had any goals, it's likely they were paused because things got shut down. We're suddenly in quarantine, we're suddenly in lockdown, suddenly there's rules, you can only see certain people. So for a lot of us, things we thought we would achieve in 2020, things we thought we would be able to do in 2020 haven't happened. However, looking back at the year, did you make the most of it? Were you able to find the simple joys? Were you able to still make this a year that's worth counting? And I think that's really what it came down to with the film, which I thought like kind of touched a nerve for me. I was like, oh wow, like when that's really, we're coming to the end of 2020. This video is out on New Year's Day. Happy New Year, everyone. And I think you look back and you go, what happened this year? But then also, did I achieve anything? For me, the achievements were finding the joys in the little things. And I think that's the shift. That's what I feel came from this film that really spoke to me. It was no longer about this big like, you can do anything, achieve your goals. It was about the little things. It was about finding the joy in a bit of sunshine, in leaves in the trees, in speaking to other people and hearing their stories. And I think that's beautiful. I really do. That really speaks to me. I love that. I love that a lot. So the film itself, we kind of between two places. Now a lot of the film, and I'm actually really grateful for this, a lot of the film was set in New York, which was really interesting. It was a good experience of New York. We got to walk around, we got to see kind of daily life of New York, which I thought was great. It was really nicely done. We've also got the afterlife. Now, the way the afterlife was represented, I thought was really, really interesting. There was a lot of things the film did that made me think about how souls exist. What happens after we die? What makes someone good enough to be a mentor for a soul? What is the purpose of life? Is it to achieve the greatest blah, or is it to smile and live each day to the fullest? Like, it just, the way they did the film really, really raised more questions than it gave answers, which I think is very clever. It's made me think. And surely you want to leave a film and not be like, ah, oh yeah, it was okay, let's move on. You want to leave and be like, that's given me something to think about. And I've enjoyed thinking about it. I haven't got any answers, but it's made me reflect on life. One of the things I thought was very interesting is we are introduced to several characters, which I feel was really nice. We met Joe's family, we met different people he interacted with, but we didn't get to know them. There's several scenes involving his mum and mention of his dad and one little flashback to his dad, but Pixar decided not to go into those. I kind of wonder why sometimes, because I think we could have done with a bit more explanation as to maybe why Joe was the way he is, why he was so determined to follow this one dream. What was his dad's experience of it, because we find out that he also had a similar experience. I just feel there were a few questions that I'd like to kind of know a little bit more about different characters. We met his barber, and that storyline was really nice, but again, it just triggered me to kind of sit there and go, with no meat to it. Does that make sense? We kind of get these little aspects of stories and then back to the main thing. I think it would have been interesting to find out a little bit more about those people. But overall, right, I have seen on Rotten Tomatoes, this has got a 97%. It's doing incredibly well, incredibly well. It's also a film that's been released in 2020, when most of us are in some kind of lockdown, some kind of limitation of going out. There are no bloomin' cinemas. You can't go to the cinema. So we've all just been watching this at home, which does change the experience, completely changes the experience. But I have to say, I was really pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it a lot. I felt very moved by it. I think it really had nice messages. And oh my goodness, the questions coursing through my veins right now. There is a lot that was left unsaid, which is pretty cool in a way, I guess. We don't all have the answers to everything, and neither does Pixar. So there you go. So thank you as always for watching. I'm hoping there might be more films possibly in 2021. Who knows what the situation will be, but I do enjoy talking about them and seeing what you think. So if you've watched it, please let me know in the comments below what you thought of the film. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and hopefully I will see you next time. Also, if you'd like to see some of our other reviews, I have a very, very emotional review of Coco, so I will link that below. Enjoy.